DCKO, DC's newest crossover event. We got the heroes and villains fighting each other. We got the absolute universe stepping in. We got a lot of exciting things happening in this new event. So, let's go over it. And we start with Superman himself, as it says, here in the dark, in the moments before it begins. He tells himself it's just another fight, a brawl like countless ones before, a contest, a game to win. Hell, for this one, everyone even got to bring gear. Clark brought the Knuckles. He forged them in the fortress years ago, after returning from the dead. Knuckles with the miniature suns raging inside, angry suns taken from empty universes. It's not like Superman isn't already powerful enough. Now we got him sitting here stretching in the dark, putting on solar knuckles, amping up his already immense power. And they stated pretty clearly, with them, he's stronger, faster, ready to throw down. He's fought in other dimensions, other universes, fought gods, titans. What's one more fight? As he walks out ready to go. But once that door fully opens, something surprises Superman. And before we figure out what that is, we get a really heartwarming scene between the Trinity, something you rarely get to see. Them chilling, playing games, talking as a family. They're playing a board game that Superman is thoroughly losing in, and it's really starting to bother him. Probably the funniest moment of this little interaction here is that Superman's wondering why all the power-ups in the game are Bat-themed. And when he looks up what company made it, it's M. Malone Entertainment. For the people that don't understand why this is crazy, that's literally just Batman. Matches Malone is one of his aliases. They're bat themed because he made the board game, as he makes fun of Clark for losing. And as they play for hours and talk and chat and finally have a moment to let their hair down, Lois realizes it's really bright outside and she wonders why. And everyone turns around to see the horror. It is Darkseid in a far more powerful form. He's not just bigger and stronger, he's everything, a universe of power given form. And as Superman thinks they've done this before, they've beaten Darkseid countless times. He can feel it. This is different. When he looks over to Diana and Bruce, he can tell they feel it too. And boy, are they setting the tone. He is beyond a god. He is all godliness. Somehow, he is everywhere, fighting everyone at once. And everyone is outmatched. This is probably the most powerful we've ever seen Darkseid, as he sweeps through all the heroes. He takes out Batman first, takes out Diana, and as Superman rushes at him at Mach 7, he hears something that stuns him, and before he can even figure it out, he too is destroyed. Darkseid, very easily, very quickly, beat everybody. And before we as the audience even get a chance to mourn, we see they're all brought back, here in front of the Quantum Quorum, asking questions trying to figure out when they're supposed to be defeated. But Doomsday in his new form makes it pretty clear. They were already defeated. This group of temporal beings rewinded time by 7 days. Now for some of my OGs listening to this, if you had a PS2, there is no way you didn't play a game called Ultimate Alliance. Something pretty similar happens there too, where the heroes are straight up decimated by Dr. Doom, only for the Watcher to save them so that they can find a way to win outside of fighting Doom head up, because they simply can't. That's pretty much what's happening here too. They make it pretty clear the heroes are not beating Darkseid. Not only that, but this has a little taste of Avengers Endgame as well. As Booster Gold tells them, they've tried thousands of ways of defeating Darkseid and it never works. Bottom line is, the heroes simply cannot win. There's only one way the heroes come out on top. And it's something they really don't want to hear. They have to give up, start over, and start an entirely new timeline. Darkseid simply conquers this one. And I can definitely understand their frustration because, bruh, I'm pretty sure like a few years ago, this timeline was created. My math could be off, you guys can let me know, but I'm almost certain DC just recently restarted, so another restart does sound kinda crazy. And speaking of restarts, they actually bring up the New 52, saying that this has happened before. And I might be one of the only people that actually liked the New 52, but either way, the heroes aren't really trying to hear that either, because as we all know, the New 52 didn't work out either. We got something else, and something else, and something else. They always seem to restart. So although they clearly can't beat Darkseid, they're really resistant to the whole reset thing. So since the heroes don't want to run, and they clearly can't fight, Batman does the smart thing. He starts asking questions. How exactly did Darkseid become this? What are the heroes truly up against? And the World Forger begins to show them. To understand him, you must understand what he seeks. Our universe is full of mysterious energies, but since its inception, its two most primal are the twin energies we call Alpha and Omega. Alpha is the energy of creation, wild and explosive. Nearly all planets with life are sources of Alpha energy, but not Apocalypse. At Apocalypse's core is an infernal machine, a heart that runs on Omega energy. the energy of conquest, absorption, control. And when Darkseid saw it eons ago, it chose him as its champion and transformed him into the enemy you have fought so many times. From that moment on, he has sought to turn Earth, reality's greatest source of alpha energy, into New Apokolips. And so, when he formed his new universe, he placed the Heart of Apokolips at its primordial Earth center. All Omega energy in that realm flows to him, making him absolute. Thus, he has become that universe's King Omega, the personification of all its Omega energy, a walking singularity that transforms all around him. So we see exactly what he is, what he did to the absolute universe, how it has amped him to King Omega, why he is so powerful. Man, what a great explanation for everything. And with all of this explained, now the heroes understand why the Earth is changing right before their eyes, as fire pits and parademons start popping up all over the globe. But Batman, being the smartest man in the room, figured something out. If this Heart of Apokolips made Darkseid so damn powerful and it's forming inside their own Earth, why can't it just do the same thing for one of them? Why can't it make one of them a King Omega? Now, according to Time Trapper, the reason it can't is because it's cosmically linked to Darkseid. It only serves him. Unless it can be restarted. Restarted with Omega energy the heroes simply don't have. But Batman knows that Booster Gold is brimming with Omega energy. He could shoot the heart with his Omega energy. He could restart it and one of these heroes could have the same power Darkseid has. They could actually stand a chance. But Booster Gold tells them they don't really comprehend what they'd be unleashing. And here we get another fat dump of information, basically setting up why the heroes are going to be fighting, as the World Forger explains exactly what'll happen. You must understand, the heart is a living thing, sentient. Reborn, it would immediately seek a champion, someone fueled by conquest and conquest alone. You all, your heroes, and as Grodd interrupts him, saying they're all just too soft. They simply don't have it in them to be as ruthless as they need to be for the heart to really see them as worthy. And because of this, Time Trapper lets him know, although the heart will be new and hungry after being reborn, it will still defend itself. As he explains how. It's fourth dimensional, not bound by our physics. By my calculations, it would reshape itself to test you. Create a tournament. Each of these rings would be a higher level of challenge, and Flash assumes these challenges would be a bunch of parademons, and Grodd takes that opportunity to call him an idiot. They would not be fighting parademons, they would go up against each other. They would all have to fight each other to see who's truly worthy of the Heart of Apokolips. And after one of them defeats the others, they'll have to go against the heart itself, and once they get past that test, they will become the sole celestial entity. And Batman wants to know, once they become this entity, will they finally have the power to fix everything? Can they restore what Darkseid has taken away? And in theory, they definitely can. Whoever wins this tournament can shape the universe any way they see fit. So the stakes truly have never been higher, because of course the heroes are going to be the ones that want to win, but we also need to make sure the one that wins is someone that can actually be trusted with the entirety of the universe. So with that being said, Time Trapper makes it extremely clear. Can they really do this? Can they fight their friends and family with no mercy, with only the drive to win? Can they destroy each other with no compassion? And that's when you see the heroes take a bit of a pause, because if this is the route they're gonna go, there's no turning back. But Superman is the first one to step up and tells Time Trapper, forget it, they're not doing this, as he walks away. But Batman and Wonder Woman come to talk to him privately. As he stares at the Earth, Wonder Woman lets him know they lost to Earth before Darkseid even showed back up. They all knew it. It was only a matter of time before something like this happened. But Superman makes a pretty good point. What if the villains follow them down here to this tournament? The Joker, Lex Luthor, Cheetah? What if one of them is able to pull off the win? What if they have the power to reshape the universe as they see fit? As Batman tries to reassure him that they simply won't let them do that. Diana even offers a solution, as they've been changing the Phantom Zone to make it a place of healing. Maybe they simply put the villains there to keep them out of the tournament. But Superman has one more worry. While they're doing this, fighting each other in this tournament, who's gonna protect the Earth? And that's something the League is discussing right now while the Trinity has this conversation. As Batman lets him know that this could really work, and he wants Superman to really think on it, but there's only one thing on Superman's mind. The sound he heard that really stunned him, that stopped him from fighting Darkseid before Darkseid eventually killed him. It was the heartbeat of everyone and everything on the planet, all beating in unison to Darkseid. He really was changing everything on the planet, atom by atom, essentially taking away everything Superman loved. This really is the only way to fix this. As they finally drive the nail in the coffin, they find a way to fully convince Superman, telling him that it's just a game. And like Lois said at the beginning of the issue, he's not a fan of games where there are losers. But here, if they do this right, if they win by fighting as hard as they can, there are no losers. Everybody wins. And now, Superman is on board. The heroes have decided they'll take 7 days to prepare for this tournament. And on the 7th day, right before Darkseid appears and kills them all, they'll leave to go fight for this Heart of Apocalypse to see who becomes the champion. And at the same time, everyone in the Quantum Quorum will use the rest of their energies to slow down time, to stave off Darkseid's approach. And hopefully this is enough for one of the heroes to finally win the tournament and claim the heart, so that by the time Darkseid starts to nuke everything, one of them will have the power to fight him off. And we start with day 1, as Mr. Terrific has modified T-Spheres to go out and take some of the most dangerous villains and remove them from the board, placing them in the Phantom Zone. And funny enough, the heroes have placed power levels on the villains. Whoever is 6 or higher has been removed from the board. As we see the Joker, King Shark, Black Manta, Lex Luthor, Killer Croc, Mr. Freeze, and who knows how many others. On the 2nd and 3rd days, we have the heroes meeting with the government to explain everything, and as they choose Superman to be their speaker, he addresses the planet, not only explaining upcoming events, but telling them that all of the most powerful companies have banded together, pooled all their money to make these giant mega arcs, to preserve everyone and everything, just in case things don't go according to plan. On top of that, the Titans and Mr. Terrific are staying on Earth to make sure the Earth is protected while the heroes do this. On the 4th day, all of the heroes spend time with their family, to remember exactly what they're fighting for, as Clark is with his family and he hears the heartbeats of everything and everyone. This time, they're not in unison with Darkseid, they're different. He can even hear the heartbeat of the planet, but worst of all, he can hear the heartbeat of the nasty thing growing inside of it, the Heart of Apocalypse, as he's reminded that he can do this and that everything will be okay. On the 5th day, they prepare for the tournament. They go to their war rooms and bunkers and sacred vaults and choose their gear. What to pick though, when there's no telling what challenges the tournament will bring. Some go on offense, as Batman chooses his Justice Buster 2 suit. Others go on strategy, while Diana grabs her God Killer armor. A few choose defensive measures, as we see Cyborg upgrading his father box, while we see Superman choosing something that simply feels right, as we see Superman grab those Knuckles with the Angry Sun, his Dawn's Day gloves, as he would have called them. And the tournament is almost upon us. It is now the 6th day. The heroes are ready. The world is prepared and fortified. Heroes of all kinds, gods, monsters, aliens, all ready to fight each other with no mercy. With the tournament being so close, it kind of makes me wonder if this will test the relationships of these different heroes and villains. Some of them are more than just friends, and they're gonna have to be absolutely brutal towards each other because there can only be one winner. Now, it's time to see if their plan really works, as they bring Booster Gold to the center of the Heart of Apocalypse and he blasts all of his Omega energy inside of it. And it turns out this does actually work. They are able to restart the heart. And for a brief moment, the heart does something to welcome every single hero here. It gives them all a glimpse of what it would look like if they won, if they had the power to reshape the universe in their image with their beliefs. All the good they could do. It gives them a vision of what victory could actually be like. But the vision is quickly ended as all these heroes are now in darkness, waiting inside arena gates. The tournament has now begun. And now we are where we started at the very beginning. Superman with his knuckles ready to fight, but we see these giant monsters telling him to stop and wait for all contestants. As we see a handful of heroes walking out with all their chosen gear, ready to fight. And I gotta say, I have seen plenty of mech Batman suits, even the one Gordon used to wear, for all the years I've been reading Batman comics. And this one looks the most primitive, the trashiest. This does not look good at all. But either way, these giant beings make the rules very clear. Those of you who cross the gauntlet early shall move on. One wrong step and you may find yourself out. And while they're explaining all this, we see Billy Batson so ready to fight Superman. Finally ready to see who's better, Shazam or Superman. And because this idiot is not listening and he's ready to power up, right before he can get the word Shazam out, he's crushed right in front of Superman, obviously pissing him off. And right after he's crushed, they tell them that now they can start fighting. And Superman immediately takes his anger out on the being that just crushed little old Billy Batson. Only for him to be blasted in the back by Batman, because there is no time for this. He needs to get his head in the game and pay attention. And of all the heroes that needs to pay attention the most, it's definitely definitely Superman. He needs to keep his emotions in check. Because not only do they all have to fight each other, but we also learn that the arena is fully booby-trapped. So they have to be careful of everything and everyone, as we see Damage fall on a booby-trapped tile and get obliterated along with a few others. And Superman does his best not to pay attention to any of this, as he tells himself it's just a game. But Jay Garrick sees the portal they all need to get to, and as he rushes through, he makes a bad step himself. One of the tiles he activates brings up Omega Demons, parademons at their fullest form, taken from a part of the future where Darkseid is at his most powerful. These things are nothing to mess with, as everyone starts to team up to take him out. And as different people get into this portal, it shrinks more and more. Almost 20 people have made it through, and we see Superman is still hanging back. He's fighting everyone off to help his friends get through. The villains, the Omega Demons, he's throwing himself at everyone everywhere to make sure all the people he cares about can get in first. And once again, Batman has to stop to tell him he needs to stay sharp, he needs to focus. But this distraction costs Batman his life as he is impaled, and you see the horror on Superman's face. And it turns out the one that just murdered Batman was the Joker himself, as we see him, King Shark, Starro, Cheetah, Giganta, and Lex Luthor. They did so much to make sure these villains could not get out, could not ruin their plans. And somehow all of them escaped. As Joker says, I guess Batman doesn't always win. As Bruce one last time tells Superman, remember what I said. And with these villains here, they start to wreak havoc on everybody. Joker, Giganta, Lex, they all make it through, demolishing tons of heroes in their wake. But before Lex gets through, he turns around and smiles at Superman, a smile of pity, as he doesn't think Superman is worthy of such a task. He doesn't think he can be ruthless enough to be King Omega. But Superman has had enough, and one of those rare moments where he cuts loose, he cuts a swath through everybody, tears them to pieces, and he takes the final spot in the portal, as everyone else is out of the tournament. So now we've got our full roster of heroes and villains who are gonna fight each other in the next round. And what a roster this is! We got all kinds of power levels, all kinds of different people. There's no way to tell who's gonna win. But if we're talking about narratively, Superman does not want to be here. Superman doesn't want to do this, and it's pretty clear that someone like Lex doesn't think he's even capable enough to be King Omega. Superman's not exactly known for his ruthlessness, for his ability to show no mercy. So although he's the most powerful, he is the least likely to win, which is why I think he's probably gonna do it. Although I think that would be a bit too cliche. But we've got some pretty interesting people here. We got Damian Wayne who snuck in, didn't even see this guy in the fight. Also Jason Todd, so 2 Robins are here. And because of what he did to Batman, we got the Joker, Connor Hawke, who we know is an absolute menace. Vixen snuck in, Jay Garrick, I mean man. I am just so excited to see what some of these matchups bring. Cause you got someone like Harley Quinn who's here, and it makes you wonder what the hell is she gonna do to half the people here. Even Plastic Man is here, and I heard he's straight up godlike with his abilities. The matchups are gonna go crazy is the point. And I would love to know who you guys think is actually gonna come out on top. Like I said, narratively, looks like it'll be Superman, but it's gonna be interesting before we get there. And the whole time, I thought the narrator was maybe the World Forger or the Time Trapper, but it turns out the person that's been speaking to us, the audience, is the Heart of Apocalypse itself, as it already knows who's going to win. It knows how this entire tournament is gonna end. Of course, it's not gonna tell us, as we see all of the other heroes and villains that have fallen in this current tournament. And it hints at some of the surprises that await us. 3 surprises that I am the most excited for. Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, and Absolute Wonder Woman. Although the description of them is a bit odd to me, as the Heart of Apocalypse calls them Darkseid's 3 destroyers, horsemen from a world where his rule is absolute. Monsters. Kinda wondering why all 3 of them are considered his monsters, his horsemen, as it continues. And these are just some of the horrors that await. But if you want to know the real truth, the final one I'll tell you. It's that none of them win. Not Clark, not Diana, not Mari, not Eel. None. As we get another surprise, because what they don't know is that there is one last champion among them. The king himself. That's right. Darkseid, having taken the form of one of their own. So no friend, the game isn't beginning, it's already over, as it's revealed that Darkseid is Booster Gold, the one that shot the Omega energy that restarted the heart, that started the tournament. He's behind it all, bro. This issue was so damn good. I don't even understand Darkseid's plan, which makes it so much better. Why? Would he help these heroes do this? If you guys remember, Booster Gold is the one that egged them on to do this plan to try and stop him. And Booster Gold is Darkseid! Clearly, I'm very excited. This is the end of the issue. I cannot wait for issue number 2, so some of my questions can be answered. This was just so damn good, but I do hope you guys enjoyed it. This is definitely the longest one of these I've ever made. Hopefully you stayed till the end, and if you did, please leave a like and a subscribe, and I will catch you guys for issue number 2.